Prince Louis, the youngest and most spirited member of the royal family, possesses an uncanny ability to command attention through the sheer force of his unfiltered character. While he enjoys a warm rapport with much of the family, a perceptible rift exists between him and Queen Camilla, a subtle undercurrent that has not escaped notice. There were fleeting instances when their interactions hinted at a burgeoning closeness, yet these were swiftly overshadowed by a pivotal shift during the Christmas celebration orchestrated by Princess Kate. In the account that follows, we shall explore how Prince Louis, with a single astonishing declaration, sent ripples of shock through the nation, laying bare a profound and unexpected perspective on his relationship with Camilla. To commence this narrative, there is perhaps no more fitting subject than Prince Louis, the youngest scion of the royal lineage, whose charm, irrepressible spirit, and endearing nature have swiftly endeared him to many. Born to Prince William and Kate Middleton on a radiant spring morning, April 23, 2018, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, Louis entered the world enveloped in the grandeur and ceremony befitting his station. The occasion was marked by resounding gun salutes, the peal of bells, and a nation united in its affectionate admiration for the newest addition to the House of Windsor. From his earliest moments, Louis has proven himself a figure capable of capturing hearts with effortless grace. His parents bestowed upon him the name Louis Arthur Charles, a deliberate homage to his grandfather, now King Charles III, and a reverent nod to the late Louis, Earl Mountbatten of Burma, a figure whose influence looms large in the annals of royal history. It is a name laden with significance, one that might seem outsized for so young a child. Yet, if the trajectory of his nascent years offers any indication, Louis is poised to embody its weight with aplomb. His christening, a quintessential royal occasion, took place on July 9, 2018, presided over by the Archbishop of Canterbury within the hallowed confines of the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace. The images from that day radiate warmth and innocence, with his elder siblings, George and Charlotte, gazing upon him with evident pride, an early testament to the deepening bond that unites them. The experience of growing up as the youngest in a royal household diverges markedly from the ordinary. Yet William and Kate have endeavored to strike a delicate equilibrium between the obligations of their rank and the simplicities of family life. Louis's formative years unfolded across two distinct realms: the stately halls of Kensington Palace in London and the tranquil refuge of Aylmer Hall, the family's rural retreat in Norfolk. His parents have frequently articulated their deep appreciation for moments of domestic intimacy, whether tending to gardens, engaging in the homely art of baking, or reveling in outdoor play. It is within these settings that Louis's vibrant personality is said to flourish, illuminating the spaces he inhabits with an infectious vitality. This vivacity found public expression during his debut at Trooping the Colour in 2019. Positioned atop the Buckingham Palace balcony, the young prince waved to the assembled throng with unbridled enthusiasm, revealing even in toddlerhood an innate refusal to shrink from the limelight. This penchant for capturing attention reached a crescendo during Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, where his animated expressions and playful comportment not only stole the spotlight, but also spawned a series of indelible moments that reverberated across digital platforms for weeks. For the Wales family, education constitutes a cornerstone of their values, and Louis's initial foray into formal learning commenced in 2021 at Wilcox Nursery School. With a demeanor suffused with delight, he joined his peers near Kensington Palace, displaying the same curiosity and zeal that his parents have often extolled in their public reflections. By 2022, the family faced a significant transition, relocating to Adelaide Cottage within Windsor Home Park, a move that afforded greater seclusion and room for their expanding brood. That same year, Louis embarked upon the next chapter of his academic journey at Lambrook School, an independent preparatory institution in Berkshire, where he joined George and Charlotte. In these milestones, one discerns the careful stewardship of William and Kate, who seek to nurture their children's development amidst the unique demands of their royal heritage. Despite his youth, Prince Louis has already borne witness to events of profound historical import, his presence woven into the fabric of a monarchy in transition. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 marked the dawn of a new era for the royal family. With his grandfather's ascension to the throne as King Charles III, Louis found himself fourth in line to the crown, a position of no small consequence. This placement is particularly noteworthy, as he stands as the first British prince in history to succeed an elder sister in the line of succession, a shift made possible by the Perth Agreement. The coronation of King Charles III on May 6, 2023, offered yet another defining moment. Clad in impeccable royal garb, Louis joined his parents and siblings at the ceremony. His youthful exuberance lending a subtle yet poignant charm to the occasion's solemn magnificence. While his elder brother, Prince George, assumed a more ceremonial role, Louis's mere attendance served as a quiet reminder of the emerging generation of royals, a figure at once endearing and irrepressibly spirited. It is unmistakable that Louis, as the youngest of the royal brood, embodies a distinctive mischief. Whether he is caught making impish faces during formal engagements or attempting to extinguish his sister's candle at a Christmas service, Prince Louis possesses an innate talent for drawing the gaze of all around him. Yet beneath the surface of these lighthearted moments lies a deeper, more tender dynamic with his elder siblings, Prince George and Princess Charlotte. As is often the case with the youngest child, Louis occupies a singular niche within the family, not merely as the cherished baby, but as a figure whose unique connections with his brother and sister enrich the familial tapestry. His playful misdeeds may occasionally cast him as the annoying little brother, yet this moniker, far from a burden, appears one he carries with a certain pride, a trait that only amplifies the affection he inspires in those who observe him. Among his siblings, it is Princess Charlotte to whom Louis seems most drawn, her influence perhaps subtly shaping his own demeanor. At the tender age of 8, Charlotte has assumed an unspoken mantle of authority, the big sister in charge. Her guidance is frequently evident during public outings, where she endeavors to steer Louis toward the decorum expected of his station. No small task for a 6-year-old whose cheekiness often prevails. This protective instinct is shown brightly during the family's attendance at Kate Middleton's annual Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey. Making his debut at the event, Louis strode alongside his siblings with a confidence that belied the venue's imposing grandeur. Charlotte's steady presence beside him seemed to offer an unspoken assurance, as though she were his personal sentinel. Even when he succumbed to temptation and attempted to blow out her candle as they departed, Charlotte's response, a gentle smile and a dismissal of the act, reflected a patience born of deep-rooted sibling devotion. This bond, far from a recent development, has its roots in Louis's earliest days. A poignant photograph from Charlotte's 3rd birthday captures her cradling the infant Louis in her lap, tenderly kissing his forehead, an image that foreshadows the affectionate guardian she would become. Though their roles have since evolved with time, the intimacy between them endures. Whether engaged in charitable endeavors at baby banks or sharing in the revelry of royal occasions, Charlotte often leads the way, with Louis content to trail in her wake, his admiration for her quietly evident. In these interactions, one discerns not merely a sibling relationship, but a partnership tempered by mutual regard and the subtle interplay of their distinct personalities. Let us now turn our attention to Prince George, the 10-year-old heir destined for the throne, who has, over the years, steadily assumed a more conspicuous role within the royal sphere. For some time, George and Charlotte formed an inseparable pair, their companionship a familiar sight during family engagements. More recently, however, the relationship between George and Louis has flourished, maturing into a delightful blend of fraternity and playful mischief. Those close to the family observe that Louis has shed the mantle of the annoying little brother, good brother, to emerge as George's diminutive accomplice. Their growing closeness manifests in shared pursuits and occasional bouts of harmless trouble, whether surreptitiously raiding the kitchen for late-night treats or devising pranks to bemuse their parents. In these acts, George and Louis affirm that a streak of impishness is indeed a familial trait. Though George's ascent into maturity accelerates, Louis wields a singular gift for coaxing out his elder brother's lighter side, offering a gentle reminder that childhood need not be relinquished too soon. This bond found subtle expression during Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, an occasion where Louis's exuberant theatrics captivated onlookers. George, ever the picture of restraint, maintained his poised bearing, yet his vigilant glances toward his younger sibling betrayed a protective instinct, ensuring Louis's spirited antics remained within the bounds of decorum. Beyond the confines of home, Louis's vivacity finds new outlets. His recent venture into drumming marks a fresh chapter in his evolution as the family's most boisterous presence. Prince William, with the wry humor of a grounded father, has quipped about resorting to ear covering as Louis fervently refines his craft. One can readily envision the scene. Louis hammering away at his drum kit, Charlotte casting an exasperated yet fond glance, and George feigning aloofness while inwardly yearning to partake in the clamor. These vignettes lend the Wales children an air of relatability, transcending the lofty veneer of their royal lineage. Together, George, Charlotte, and Louis form not merely a sibling trio, but a cohesive unit, their unity palpable whether clad in coordinated attire at ceremonial functions or laboring side by side in acts of charity. A recent visit to a baby bank encapsulated this dynamic. Charlotte assumed command with quiet authority, while Louis, enthralled by a King Kong toy, once more demonstrated the youngest's knack for uncovering delight in life's simplest offerings. Their interplay reveals a bond at once heartwarming and uplifting, a testament to the strength of their connection. Surrounded by affection, Louis, as the youngest, enjoys a distinctive rapport with the family's elder members, setting him apart in the royal constellation. Though often cast as the impish third child, his mischievous smirks and lively demeanor stealing the stage, Louis is cherished deeply by those nearest to him. It is an open secret that Kate Middleton shares an exceptionally profound tie with her youngest son. Renowned for her tender and attentive approach to motherhood, Kate masterfully balances the demands of royal duty with an intimate, hands-on role in her children's upbringing. Louis, in turn, emerges as the spirited force who keeps her ever vigilant, a dynamic that underscores the depth of their mutual devotion. Kate's love for the outdoors plays a huge role in her parenting, and it's clear Louis is right at home in nature. Whether it's exploring the grounds of Adelaide Cottage in Windsor or helping with gardening projects, Kate ensures her children, especially Louis, are always encouraged to embrace the simple joys of life. And let's not forget her creative side. With her love for art and baking, Kate often organizes activities that spark Louis's curiosity and playful energy. Louis has often been described as the wild child of the family, and Kate is reportedly the first to smile fondly when he does something cheeky. Whether he's dancing around in the kitchen with Charlotte or attempting to keep up with his older siblings, Kate knows how to turn these moments into cherished family memories. It's a bond built on laughter, love, and a bit of patience, something every parent with a spirited youngest child can relate to. As a father, Prince William has always tried to strike a balance between royal duty and active involvement in his children's lives. Louis, being the youngest, shares a particularly playful relationship with his dad. While William teaches his children the importance of kindness and responsibility, values passed down to him from Princess Diana, he also has a wonderful sense of humor, which Louis clearly inherits. In public, William is often seen gently guiding Louis during formal events. Behind the scenes, insiders reveal he's the first to laugh at his son's antics. For Louis, his maternal grandparents, Carol and Michael Middleton, provide the perfect escape from the formalities of royal life. At the Middleton family home in Berkshire, the environment is far more relaxed and cozy, allowing Louis to just be a child. Carol Middleton, in particular, is known for her dedication to her grandchildren, and little Louis benefits greatly from her hands-on approach. Whether it's baking cookies together, playing games outdoors, or helping her with gardening, Carol makes sure Louis enjoys the simple joys of childhood. She's not just a grandmother, she's a confidant, a playmate, and a source of endless hugs. Michael Middleton, on the other hand, brings calm and stability to Louis's world. He often takes Louis on nature walks or engages in quiet family moments. This connection to the Middletons gives Louis a sense of balance, grounding him in a more ordinary upbringing while still preparing him for life within the royal family. King Charles III may lead a busy life as the reigning monarch, but he's never too busy for his grandchildren, Louis included. Charles's passion for nature and the environment often shines through in his moments with Louis. Whether it's sharing stories about gardening, explaining the importance of protecting the planet, or teaching him about the history of the royal family, Charles plays a significant role in passing down his values to the next generation. Although Louis is still quite young, Charles is known to have a soft spot for him, much like he does for George and Charlotte. His grandfatherly role provides Louis with both wisdom and warmth, creating memories that will stay with him for years to come. With such strong bonds across the family, There's one person noticeably absent from Louis's inner circle: Camilla, the queen consort. While Louis shares playful and heartwarming relationships with everyone from Kate's parents to King Charles, Camilla's name rarely comes up when talking about his closest relationships. Is this simply a coincidence, or is there something more to it? Prince Louis and Camilla, the curious distance. Many think that the reason for the distance between Camilla and Louis is none other than the hatred that Prince William feels toward his stepmother. And who could blame him? Their complicated history has been brewing for decades. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Others believe this distance has nothing to do with William's feelings at all. Instead, they think that children, even as young as Louis, are far more perceptive than we give them credit for. Kids just know when something feels off, and Louis, the cheeky little prince that he is, might simply be steering clear of Camilla all on his own. To really understand this tension, we need to look back at the fraught relationship between William and Camilla. It's no secret that William holds deep-rooted resentment toward the woman who was at the center of his parents' public heartbreak. Imagine being a young boy, witnessing your family fall apart under the relentless glare of the media, with Camilla's name constantly making headlines. It's a pain that doesn't just fade away. Insiders have long hinted that William's polite smiles and public cordiality toward his stepmother mask a much colder reality. When Camilla officially married King Charles in 2005, William reportedly wasn't thrilled about it. He was loyal to his late mother, Princess Diana, and there's no doubt that her memory looms large in his feelings toward Camilla. Over the years, the two have managed to coexist, but it's more like an armistice than a loving relationship. William may appreciate Camilla's dedication to duty now, but that doesn't mean he's ready to roll out the red carpet for her, and it seems his kids have picked up on this too. Now let's talk about Louis. The youngest Wales sibling has always been described as spirited, playful, and, let's face it, a little mischievous. But kids have an uncanny ability to pick up on the energy around them, whether it's tension in a room, strained conversations, or subtle cues from the adults they trust. Children often know when something isn't quite right. It's entirely possible that Louis senses something when Camilla is around. Maybe it's William's subtle weariness, or perhaps it's just the absence of the same warmth he receives from other family members. Children may be young, but they're certainly not stupid. They can spot when someone isn't as natural or as loving as, say, their grandparents, Carol and Michael Middleton, or even King Charles himself. Louis, with his observant nature, might just be following his instincts and keeping his distance. Camilla, to her credit, has worked tirelessly over the years to carve out her role in the royal family. She's taken on charity work, stood beside King Charles through thick and thin, and won over many in the public who once viewed her as the villain in Diana's story. But within the Wales household, it's a different story. While King Charles adores his grandchildren and shares a warm bond with George, Charlotte, and Louis, Camilla's connection to them seems far less prominent. You'll rarely, if ever, see public moments of affection between her and the youngest Wales child. Some might say this is because Louis is still young and isn't often part of formal royal events. But others argue that it reflects something deeper, a natural distance born from a complicated family history. Remember, William is a fiercely protective father. He's determined to give his children as normal a childhood as possible, shielding them from the pain and scrutiny he endured growing up. If he harbors any lingering distrust toward Camilla, it's not hard to imagine him keeping her role in Louis's life at arm's length, the unexpected bond. You will be surprised to know that despite all the rumors about tension within the royal family, there have been moments when Prince Louis and Queen Camilla appeared to get along just fine. In fact, some of these moments were so heartwarming that they left royal watchers wondering if there's more to their relationship than meets the eye. Let's start with Christmas Day at Sandringham, a day filled with royal tradition and festive cheer. This particular holiday season, young Prince Louis, dressed adorably as always, caught everyone's attention during the royal family's walk to church. Louis, who had just turned 4, was walking alongside Queen Camilla, and the moment between them melted hearts across the nation. As the family made their way down the path, Camilla gently placed her hand on Louis's back, guiding him forward as they chatted. Louis, ever the charmer, looked up at her with his trademark grin, his eyes filled with curiosity and warmth. In that instant, it seemed as though the step-grandmother and grandson shared a genuine connection. a fleeting but significant moment of tenderness. Onlookers couldn't help but comment on how sweet the exchange was. Camilla, who often comes across as reserved, seemed relaxed and at ease with the cheeky young prince. And Louis, who is not one to hold back his emotions, seemed completely comfortable around her. Another instance that caught people's attention came during Camilla's visit to the Isle of Man. While fulfilling her royal duties, the queen consort met a mother with twin boys, both dressed in matching blue outfits. As Camilla admired the little ones, she couldn't resist bringing up her own Louis grandson, playfully describing him as quite a handful. The comment, delivered with a smile, drew laughter from the crowd. It was a candid and relatable moment that showcased Camilla's sense of humor and her awareness of Louis's larger-than-life personality. But what do these moments really mean? Don't be fooled. Camilla is already well known as someone who understands exactly how to act in public. It wouldn't be surprising if she did this deliberately to create the impression that she and Louis share a close, affectionate bond, even if the reality might be far from it, the Christmas bombshell. It may seem an overstatement, but consider the possibility that Prince Louis left an entire nation in stunned disbelief with a revelation about Queen Camilla that reverberated far beyond the confines of royal circles. Let us dissect the incident with due care. The setting was Princess Catherine's exquisitely curated Together at Christmas carol service, held within the hallowed walls of Westminster Abbey. Infused with warmth and festivity, the occasion stood as a tribute to love, gratitude, and unity, an ideal stage for what would soon emerge as the evening's most arresting moment. Integral to the service was an invitation for guests to inscribe messages of appreciation on red cards, destined for display upon the kindness tree. Each card was to bear the name of an individual who had offered support over the past year. The Wales children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, participated with characteristic diligence. As they entered the Abbey alongside their parents, George and Charlotte held their cards with measured discretion, the blank sides turned outward to shield their sentiments from prying eyes. Louis, however, true to his irrepressible and spirited nature, brandished his card openly. Penned in his endearing, childish script was a heartfelt note. "Thank you for Granny and Grandpa because they have played games with me." The allusion, unmistakably, was to his maternal grandparents, Carol and Michael Middleton, whose close bond with the young prince is well documented. The message elicited tender smiles, not least from the Middletons themselves, who radiated pride from their seats. Yet beneath the surface of this touching gesture lay an omission that did not go unnoticed. Queen Camilla's name was conspicuously absent. Among the onlookers, one ventured a lighthearted query, asking Louis why Camilla had not earned a place on his list. Unfazed and ever forthright, Louis responded with a candor that caught all present off guard. With a gravity only a child can wield, he declared, "She's lying." The atmosphere stilled instantly. The composed smiles of Kate and William wavered, their expressions betraying a blend of astonishment and unease. Time itself seemed to pause. Kate, ever the attentive mother, leaned down gently, resting a hand on Louis's shoulder as she murmured words intended to soothe. William, meanwhile, cast a fleeting, incredulous glance toward Camilla, who stood a short distance away, her countenance inscrutable. Camilla's features swiftly contorted into a taut smile, though the strain beneath it was palpable. She had been blindsided. The queen consort, who moments earlier had been mingling graciously with guests and engaging in the event's proceedings, now found herself ensnared in an unforeseen tempest. Undeterred, Louis pressed on with the earnestness unique to a 6-year-old. "She said she would play games with me, but when I went to her room, she shouted at me to go away and said I was being annoying. And then I saw her just sitting there doing nothing." What had begun as amused chuckles at a child's unguarded honesty gave way to a heavier silence as the weight of Louis' words settled over the assembly. Listeners began to grasp the implications, a candid window into a dynamic some had long suspected. Away from the public eye, Camilla's demeanor appeared to lack the warmth and generosity she so often projected. What might have compelled Prince Louis to voice such a striking and unanticipated judgment? Was it merely the unvarnished truth of youth? Or did his words hint at a deeper perception, an intuitive grasp of tensions beneath the surface? We invite your reflections in the comments below and encourage you to subscribe for further insights into this unfolding narrative.